I will call this meeting to order. And now, so I can pass this off to its rightful owner, we'll have the oath of office. Judge Mike Huntsinger will administer the oath of office to Ms. Kim Argo and Mr. Wayne Bagley.
I've known both these folks a long time, so it's my honor to do this. If you'll raise your right hand, repeat after me, please. I, state your name,
Kimberly Argo,
Wayne Bagley,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm. Okay.
that I will truly and faithfully discharge all the duties required of me by law as a member of the Board of Education of Oconee County, Georgia, to the best of my ability. I do further solemnly swear and affirm that I am not the holder of any public money due this state, unaccounted for, that I am not the holder of any office of trust under the government of the United States, except Postmaster, nor of either of the several states, nor of any foreign state, and that I am otherwise qualified to hold such office according to the Constitution of the United States and laws of Georgia, and that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state, so help me God.
I do.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we need to approve the agenda. We need a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Burgess,
Second.
Mr. Ransom, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have our superintendent's report. Dr. Branch.
Yes, ma'am. Congratulations on your new roles, and welcome back, Mr. Bagley. Appreciate your willingness to serve. I confirmed with several of our leaders out there just a few moments ago that we have indeed concluded 28th day of school. We all had to kind of collectively add that up, but we have had a great start. Lots of wonderful things have occurred since we last met as a board, and lots of wonderful things happening in our schools daily. So I'm just going to highlight a few that you may have seen. We had Victory Day. It was a great success last week at Oconee County High School, so I want to thank our special education department, Oconee County High School, and all the individuals that come together to allow those feeder programs, football, cheerleading, the band, all to have that experience that's so special. And if you've not seen that in person or on social media, please take some time to take a look at that. It's an outstanding opportunity for those kids, and all the proceeds from that event go to support Oconee Special Olympics. So thank you for our special education department, as well as our school leaders that make that happen, as well as Coach Nolan and the football staff and all of the extra kids that help out with that. It's really a tremendous activity. Also want to point out something else you may have seen that we highlighted. It was a pleasure, and this young lady was actually our superintendent for the day a few years back. Actually set up as a board member for the day. North Oconee student Mary Frances Webb was chosen as spokesperson for Children's Health Care, and also won a competition where she designed a race car for NASCAR's Chase Elliott. And we know her as Mighty Mary, and so now the whole world has seen her spirit and the way she's attacking the challenges in front of her. And so we're just very proud. We will be honoring Mary at an upcoming board meeting once we get her schedule linked in. As you can imagine, she's a busy young lady with all those accolades. So the last thing that I have just to point out, it just occurred today. Students at North Oconee held their annual 9/11 flag planting, and so earlier this afternoon, and took part in honoring, the memory of that event. And we want to thank our students and community for coming together to do that each year, and the leadership under Dr. Brown that makes that happen. So some wonderful things, very diverse things happening in our school system, lots of different areas, but you can see the commonalities, which is great people and great students doing great things. So that concludes Superintendent's report. Is there questions?
Next, we have presentations and discussions. First is teaching and learning report. Dr. Claire Budd.
Thank you and good evening, Dr. Branch and members of the Board of Education. The September 2021 Teaching and Learning Report contains 3 items of information and 1 action item for the September 20th Board of Education meeting. The first item of information is an update on the 21 Georgia Milestones results. These scores were released by the Georgia Department of Education on August 16th, 2021. And I want to point out that it is important that these results are interpreted around the state in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic and associated learning disruptions. I encourage everyone to use caution in making year-to-year comparisons with these results. The Georgia Milestones Assessment Program was designed to measure the performance of students in a typical educational environment. And we know the 2020-21 school quarantines, case counts, shifting instructional models created some different educational experiences for students around the state of Georgia. With all of that said, I am very pleased to report Oconee County Schools' results on the 19 assessments compared to the state and school systems in our Northeast Georgia RESA. The charts on page 1 and 2 of the Teaching and Learning Report reflect Oconee County Schools' results in blue, RESA in red, and the state in green. As you can see, Oconee County Schools significantly outperformed the RESA and the state on all assessments. On pages 3 through 12 of the report, you will see the top 10 rankings of school systems in the state of Georgia. I am also very proud to share with you that Oconee County ranked in the top 10 on all of these assessments, and the number 1 county school system on 12 of the 19 assessments. I want to congratulate all of our students, parents, teachers, and leaders for these outstanding results during an unprecedented year. The second item of information is an update on the Special Education Parent Survey. As you may recall, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, otherwise known as IDEA, requires that each state develop a plan that evaluates certain requirements and how LEAs or local education agencies are meeting those performance objectives. One of the performance indicators is tied to parent involvement. Parents are given 10 questions and they are asked to respond and rank each response. Some items are effective communication with teachers, partnership in decision making, and student success in transitions. The report gives valuable feedback on how parents perceive their ability to actively participate in their child's education. We use the information to enhance services, build relationships, and improve student outcomes. In Oconee County Schools, the parent survey resulted in a score of 55 out of 60. We had a total of 536 responses, and this score places us in the top 25% of school systems in the state. The chart at the top of page 13 represents the steady increase in the satisfaction rate of parents, with 2021 reaching 96%. The second chart on page 13 represents the continued increase in the participation rate of this survey. I want to commend Suzanne Korngold, Director of Special Education, along with our teachers and leaders for these outstanding parent survey results. The third item of information is an update on the new math standards. These were recently approved by the State Board of Education at their August regular meeting. This year, this current year across the state of Georgia is dedicated to teacher training and professional learning in preparation for the implementation. The action item for the September 20th Board of Education meeting is the annual Northeast Georgia RESA Special Education Shared Services Contract. The board is asked to annually approve this contract to provide the supports and services needed by our special education students as designated in their IEPs. The fixed price for FY22 is $360,444.97, and the superintendent's recommendation is that the Board of Education approve this contract at the September 20th Board of Education meeting. And that concludes the September Teaching and Learning Report, unless there are questions.
Do we have any questions? Mr. Burgess?
Not a question, Claire, but just a statement. I think you make a valid point about the difficulties and the issues last year, and the need to look at these scores in that light. But at the same time, I think when I look at those scores, given all the difficulties and the uniqueness of the year we went through last year, for me, it's a validation of the work and the effort and the commitment that you and all of your staff and all of these principals and all of the teachers and all of the school buildings put into the effort to carry out as successful and normal school year as we could possibly have had last year. So everybody in this county owes all of you a debt of gratitude for being able to pull that off to that level. I just felt the need to say that.
And thank you for those remarks. Our school leaders did tremendous work, and we did actually see some increases across the assessments. So we're pleased to report that.
Thank you. Next report is from Operations, Mr. Brock Toole.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. The Oconee County Schools Operation Division September Board of Education report contains 4 items of information and 2 action items for the September 20th Board of Education meeting. Our first item of information is our energy report, and we'll continue to commend Mr. Steve Breidenball and his team. We did go up a little bit in usage, but they're doing a fantastic job in maintenance controlling that cost. The second item of information has to do with weather events, and I wanted to kind of just take a pause for a minute and let everybody know that during weather events, I wanted to discuss the Here Comes the app and our AC that we have on our buses. We had a weather event a few weeks back, and it was just really cool to have that technology to be able to see right where the kids were, what time they were going to be home, and know that the air on those buses were conditioned if they had to stay home a little longer. So I thought that was really, really neat and wanted to point that out. Mr. Peterson and his team do outstanding work out there at the Transportation Department. Our third item of information is our lead custodian meeting. Our lead custodian meeting was held at Oconee County High School, and our custodial teams are to be commended for the rigorous work ensuring that our schools are clean for health. They do an outstanding job. Thank you, Dr. Yancey, for being hospitable and feeding us last month. At this time, I'd like to call up our Director of Facilities, Mr. Fred Rickson. He's going to give us our construction report, and then I'll come back up for the action item.
Good evening. We've got work going on at Collin Ferry that we finally are starting to see some concrete in the ground, and hopefully this week we'll start seeing some concrete block coming out of the ground. So it's a tremendous milestone for us. We're very excited to have a construction pad to work on and to see things actually coming out. What you see on your screen is an elevation view of how the new building is going to look. That's a view from the street. So if you were standing on Collin Ferry Road looking at the school, that's what you would see. What you see below is the floor plan. In the darker lines, that's the floor plan for the new addition. It's 10 classrooms, and some workspaces and restrooms. We have a picture, shows the concrete going in the ground. This was a really good day, and we've got another pour coming tomorrow. The next project to talk about is High Shoals, and Brock's going to talk to you more about that as part of the action item. But this is what you see to the left on the image number 1 in the darker lines is the elevation view of the addition that we're proposing for High Shoals. And as you see below is the floor plan for the new addition. And it's 8 classrooms, a workroom, and restrooms as well. Something that's important to note about this is that it doesn't take the entire length of the wings, the other wings of the building, to get the 8 classrooms in. So there's still room to expand on this wing if we ever need to. And the last thing I have is we've got work going on at North Oconee High at the baseball hitting facility. Concrete went in last week, and we've got a steel building coming this week to start building for the baseball team. That's all I have to report on. And does anyone have any questions? Yes, sir.
Fred, on the batting facility, hitting facility, what's the total project cost for this, and how does that being financed?
I'm not sure about the answer to that, but I'll be happy to get it back to the superintendent.
Brock, you want to take that?
Yes, it's just shy of $100,000, Mr. Tim, and the booster club is paid for the action plan.
Anything else?
Yes, where is it? Did they tear the old one down?
No, sir. We're building on the back of it, so basically what we did was we went out 40 foot, and then you know that old concrete pad was? We tore that concrete pad up, redid the concrete, and we stretched it another 20 foot this way, so it'll be 60 foot and 40 deep. And we're going to put 4 bathrooms. We're having baseball games, give us additional bathroom facilities, and also a locker room facility there.
So it's the same location?
Yes, sir. It's on the back side of
So
it.
the old building's gone, it just expanded the pad, the new building's coming?
No, the old building's still there, Mr. Wayne. We just flashed it. The new building will be
Okay.
flashed to the old building to extend it.
Okay. Out the back?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Did that encroach on the road that's the back entry?
No, sir. It's going to go. We'll actually have like a little lean-to off the back, and the road will still be able to go right on the side.
Okay.
And we graded that back part of it. We'll put grass back on that hill.
They actually did the grass today. Put the grass seed in today. Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Our first action item is for our bus purchases. And as you can see here, it's the superintendent's recommendation. Well, I'll show you this first. I'm sorry, Zoe. It's $393,000 for the buses. There will be 3 78 passenger buses and 1 72 passenger bus. And this is what we're paying with our ESSER funds. It's the superintendent's recommendation for the Board of Education to approve the purchase of 3 78 passenger buses and 1 72 passenger bus for a total cost of $393,818. Will be funded by ESSER. The second action item has to do with our High Shoals addition that Fred was just speaking of. We got our request for proposals back in last week. We went through 2 days of going over the proposals, and Armacher Brothers Construction is who actually won the proposal. And if I can see the action item real quick, Zoe. It's the superintendent's recommendation to the Board of Education to approve Armacher Brothers Construction Company for an 8 classroom addition to High Shoals Elementary School at a cost of $2,756,000. The estimated total project cost, which includes furniture, technology, and the like, is $3.2 million. The project will be funded by a combination of ELOS and general fund dollars. And just so everybody is aware, Armacher Brothers is also who's doing our Collins Ferry addition. So, if the board so chooses, they'll also be doing our High Shoals edition. And any questions?
Brock, when would you anticipate this project starting?
November.
Are material shortage a problem?
Yes, ma'am, it is. Basically what we're having to do is we're trying to work with everybody to get our submittals in just as quick as we can to try to get as much time as we can. The biggest thing is probably steel. We're having a hard time with steel, but we do, on Collin Ferry, we've got all our steel in. And, if this goes as planned, we've got enough time built into it to do the same thing for High Shoals, we believe.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Just one comment, I want to commend the operations team. They were working towards a target of October to bring this forward to the board, and we're able to bring it forward a month early in hopes to address some of those shortages that you're having with supply chain. So I appreciate the good
Yes,
work of Brock and his team on that.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Next report is from Human Resources, Dr. Brooke Whitmire.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, board members and Dr. Branch. Got 3 items of information for you this evening. The first, very excited to share with you that our Teacher of the Year selection process is in full swing. As you probably know, our 11 schools have selected their Teachers of the Year. You see them pictured there. And we are very, very pleased to be back in our same typical process this year as we have had in years past, prior to last year, of course. And over the next couple of weeks, these teachers will go through kind of a district application process. They will all be interviewed and observed by our Teacher of the Year selection committee, which, as you know, is made up of several of last year's Teachers of the Year. And then, of course, on Thursday, September the 30th at 6 p.m. at the Oconee County Civic Center, we will enjoy the annual Teacher of the Year awards banquet that's hosted by our friends at the Oconee County High Schools Alumni Association. And on that evening, we'll honor those 11 winners and also learn the district level Teacher of the Year for this year. So we look very forward to that. Next item of information, board members, is just a brief update for you on our student enrollment numbers. As you know, and as I've shared with you before, during the month of August, we have 4 straight Wednesdays where we do a physical count of students. Of course, we have registration, we project what we think is coming, and then we actually count the students. And I'm pleased to report to you that our total count of K through 12 students was just a little bit under 8,400. That represents a 2.1% increase from last October's FTE. Of course, if you add in our pre-K students, that takes that number above 8,400. And just for some context, our growth last year between FTE and the final student count was 0.5%. The year before it was 1.7%. So this year it's over 2% and of course exceeded what we projected, and we're just very pleased to report that to you. Last item of information that I have is just a little bit deeper look. I've shared with you, board members, some information about our new hires for the school year and wanted to give you a little more specific information, as I do every year this time of year, about our teachers. We're very, very pleased to welcome 45 new teachers this year. As you can see, we have 22 at the elementary level, 5 at the middle school level, and 18 at the high school level. So if you'll go on to the next slide, one of the things that's always impressive to me and that we're always pleased about, and board members, as you know, with your support, the one charge that we give to all of our leaders, particularly our principals, is to go find the best of the best available for our schools. That's it. We don't place any other precondition on it. And as you see, it's always interesting to see the experience level. It's really a great diversity across the board. I'll also tell you, if you go to the next slide, Zoe, that we find the best of the best wherever we can. Some of them are brand new to the profession. Some of them are coming from out of state. Some of them are coming back to the teaching profession after maybe being gone for a while. But for those that we hire from other districts, you see before you the various county and city school districts where those teachers come from. And just again, for some context, Zoe, if you'll go to that last slide. If you look back over the last number of years, this is the total number of new teachers that we've hired each year. Of course, 45 again this year. It's a little bit less than last year and in previous years. But we are very, very excited to welcome these folks. And board members, while I've got you, so to speak, I know I'm echoing what's already been said, but it's a privilege to welcome these new employees, these new teachers, and along with our returning employees, I cannot say enough about the work that our people are doing. And this school year is off to a fabulous start. After an incredible year last year, everybody's picked up exactly where they have left off. And if you're like me, every morning early I hear a school bus coming down the street, a new day started, and from that moment on, it just continues. And when you walk through our schools, it's an incredibly encouraging place to be. Our students are thriving, our employees are doing their thing, and we just couldn't be more proud. So with that, that'll conclude my report unless there are any questions.
One question on enrollment. Is that enrollment reasonably well distributed through the grade levels, or do you see significant components of that congregated in certain ages or grade levels?
For the most part, I would tell you, Spurs, it's throughout. It's pretty evenly spread throughout. There are those anomalies that happen. For example, we've got some areas where there might be an exceptionally large class from the 8th grade level going to the high school level. And so you see those things, but we project, as you know, based on a 3-year rolling average. And for the most part, it's pretty well spread.
Okay, so there weren't any significant bubbles in that grade that would, in that 2.1% growth rate that would push the numbers, push the grade levels higher next year than they would have otherwise been this year.
Now, I mean, we certainly have a couple of schools that saw significant growth, but no, nothing that I would say is a real significant outlier.
Okay.
Next is Student Services, Dr. Liddell.
Good evening, everybody. The Student Services Report contains 2 items of information and 4 action items this evening. The first item of information is COVID-19. Board members, we remain in regular communication with the Department of Public Health regarding our COVID-19 protocols. I'd also like to commend the principals in the room sitting behind me who also remain engaged in that conversation, not only with myself and the Department of Public Health, but also with their community, with their students, and with their teachers, and really provide really great feedback on our plans and how those are playing out in our schools. So I wanted to thank them. With regard to the data, the 7-day moving average for Oconee County is 25.9 as reported by the Department of Public Health today. 55% of Oconee County is fully vaccinated, and 61% of Oconee County has received at least 1 dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Our 12 to 14 age band has received 22.9% has received at least 1 dose, and our 15 to 19 age band 53.6 or 53.9 or I'm sorry 53.6 percent of that age band has received at least 1 dose. Also like to thank our partners at the Oconee County Health Department who over the last month has put on some vaccine clinics for our students, and they offer all types of immunizations that students need to return to school, such as measles, mumps, and rubella, and everything else that they need updated from time to time, as well as the COVID-19 vaccine. Through our partnership, they've shared with me today that they more than doubled their participation in their immunization efforts from last year to this year. I'd also like to highlight the fact that they work with us on staff vaccines and have since those vaccines became available. So throughout the school year, they've offered that our staff come in anytime that they're open and be able to walk in and receive that vaccine. So that's been available to our staff, and I know a few of them have taken part in that. We're also working on getting our flu shots set up for staff across all of our schools, and they will also have the vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine, available when they administer those flu shots for any staff that would like to take advantage of that opportunity while they're there. The second item of information is our school nutrition update. Pull that attachment up for me, Ms. So. Pleased to report that for the school system, our breakfast participation when compared to last August is up 9.9%, and our lunch participation compared to last August is up 19.6%, which is really good. As you know, our meals are being provided at no cost this school year, and it looks like our community is really taking advantage of that. We're pleased to see that in school nutrition. We've got 4 action items for the September 20th Board of Education meeting. The first action item is North Oconee field trip for girls basketball in December. They're traveling to Panama City, Florida. The second action item is a Oconee Middle School band field trip. They're traveling to North Carolina in March. The third action item is an Oconee High School chorus field trip. They're traveling to Orlando, Florida in April. And the fourth action item is an Oconee County High School band trip, and they're traveling to New Orleans in April to perform. The superintendent's recommendation is for the Board of Education to approve those trips as presented at the September 20th Board of Education meeting. And that concludes the Student Services report, unless there's any questions.
Any questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have communications. Ms. Anissa Minix.
Thank you and good evening, board members and Mr. Superintendent. The Communications Board Report has 3 items of information and no action items. The first item of information would be the annual quickbacks. The school and district level quickback sheets have been updated for the 2021-22 school year. Principals were provided with school level one-sided flyers as well as a poster prior to the start of school. The district level 2-sided sheet has now been completed with our annual enrollment data as well. Quickbacks and annual reports have been made available to realtors, to the chamber, and to the Welcome Center. It's also on our website. All of those are on the website at oconeeschools.org/quickbacks. And then on the district site and all school sites, the district one is on the school site and the school ones are on the school websites under About Us. And so if you'll scroll down, there are just some examples right there. Here's the district sheet. And again, this has been updated with current enrollment data that shows with pre-K we are now at over 8,400 students. The next item of information are our Meet Me Monday features. And every Monday this school year, we're sharing short videos as part of our new Meet Me Monday series. Both new and returning faculty, staff, and students are featured. So far, we have shared 4 feature videos that have a combined viewership of 9,854 views. So we're really pleased that our community is getting to meet us. So this evening, we'll show one example, which is Mrs. Jennifer Dalton, and she is the new assistant principal at Oconee County Primary School. So is it pushed up on the soundboard? This would be great.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Dalton, the new assistant principal at Oconee County Primary School. I'm so excited to be a part of Oconee County Schools. As a child, I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. I used to gather children from my neighborhood into my garage, where my mom and dad hung an old-fashioned chalkboard on the wall, and I would teach the kids that were my neighbors. For 21 years, I taught Gwinnett County Schools, and then moved my family to Oconee County in 2019. I have 2 boys in Oconee County Schools, and for 2 years, just admired this county from afar. What I loved most was the small town feel. Relationships are so important. My leadership journey began in 2015 when I became an assistant principal. I was matched with a great principal who became a dear friend. His son in 2016 was diagnosed with leukemia. Owen fought a really hard battle, and in 2017, Owen passed away. What I have learned through that experience is that life is so precious. Every student in any school building could be my Owen. I always look at every child and just see how important they are and how special they are. As a mom, as an educator, Owen's story changed me. I love and I lead through relationships. It was hard to lead through difficult times, but it made me stronger. It made me see things through a lens that was different than before. It's so important to me to develop strong relationships with teachers, with staff, with students, wherever I am. I'm blessed to be a part of Oconee County Schools. I'm thankful for my family who raised me to be who I am. They truly are my heroes.
And so as you can see through these, it's a way for us to get to know someone professionally and personally and really find out what they're passionate about. And so I thought this was a great example because now we certainly all know Ms. Dalton a whole lot better. And the final item is our monthly recap video and to show you how we kicked off the school year. So if you'll reduce the volume a little bit for this one. And that concludes my report unless there are any questions.
Do you have any questions or comments? Thank you. I've had a chance to watch all those videos. It is a nice way to connect.
Thank you so much, Ms. Argo.
We do have a need to go into executive session, and we need a motion to do so.
I'd like to make a motion that the board will adjourn to executive session to discuss and deliberate upon personnel matters as described on the affidavit to be attached to the minutes.
Need a second?
Second.
Mr. Bagman, all in favor? Passes 5-0. Thank you.